A fake asylum seeker who's not only fraudulently claiming benefits at home, but also abroad, using a dual identity.
All telephone calls made are recorded, and we can tell that it was the same person.
Meet Amina Muzay. This 40-year-old lady turned to the UK for help in June 2003, asking for asylum for herself and her 5 kids. The horrific story of her family's life back home in Somalia ensured she was granted asylum here in 2004. This enabled her to claim a variety of benefits from the Department for Work and Pensions, Camden Council and Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs. It's good to know that our welfare state is there for people like Amina and her children in their hour of need. Unfortunately, not everyone our country extends its generosity to is quite what they seem, and Amina may have cheated us all out of more than £250,000. Steve Thompson is a fraud investigator for the Department for Work and Pensions. In 2009, Amina's case landed on his desk.
We received a tip-off anonymously through our benefit fraud hotline. The caller told us that not only was she claiming benefits under the name of Amina Muzay that we knew her as, but she also had a Swedish identity of Ayaan Abdullah, that she was also claiming benefits in that name in the United Kingdom, but also she was claiming benefits in the name of Abdullah in Sweden for herself and her children.
Whoever this anonymous caller was, they weren't shy about dishing the dirt on Amina. The accusations kept coming.
So the information that we got was quite detailed. For example, it gave us the different names of the identities of the different children. It gave us details of bank accounts in Sweden. It also gave us national insurance numbers, dates of birth, which led us to believe that there was there was a lot in this fraud allegation.
In fact, the information was so detailed, it could only have been a family member or close friend who was making these accusations against Amina. Steve and his team start pulling together everything they can relating to Amina Muzay's case.
She didn't actually arrive on a plane and make a claim for asylum at an airport. She walked into an immigration office in London and said that she had been dropped off in London by an agent from Kenya, and that she wanted to claim asylum for herself and her children.
The reason for her claim to asylum in the UK doesn't make for easy listening.
The story that she told to the immigration authorities was that her niece had been raped in front of her, that herself had been gang raped, and that also one of her brothers had been killed in front of her. It was quite an horrific tale that she told, and obviously she feared persecution if she returned to Somalia.
Despite the horrendous but plausible story behind her asylum application, it was originally turned down. But after an appeal, Amina and her kids were allowed to stay in the UK.
When someone claims asylum, if they are granted leave to remain in the United Kingdom, i.e. their asylum claim is accepted, then they can claim social security benefits. The first benefit that she claimed was her income support for herself and her children, for housing benefit to pay her rent, child benefit for her children, disability living allowance, made a claim as a carer for her son, tax credits for herself and her children. So in all, she was receiving 6 benefits.
Fair enough if Amina's story's legit, but now Steve has the job of working out whether there is any truth to the allegations that Amina Muzay is using another identity, that of Ayaan Abdullah, with which to claim yet more benefits in both the UK and Sweden.
The first thing that I did was I obtained the claim forms in both identities for Muzay and Abdullah, and could see that we had current claims by both identities with their children.
So let's do the maths. That's 2 times 6 loads of different benefits. I think you can work out the rest. At this stage of the investigation, these are still allegations, and Ayaan Abdullah could be a completely different person. Steve gets down to the nitty-gritty and looks into the background of Abdullah, who the anonymous tip-off had said was originally from Sweden.
Ayaan Abdullah was able to claim benefits in the United Kingdom because she had Swedish identity documents. She's a European citizen, so she was able to claim for herself and her children. She was able to provide passports for herself and her children to satisfy us that she was a Swedish citizen. She was also had to pass a test to prove that she lived in the United Kingdom, which she did, so she was awarded these benefits.
Once again, like the asylum claim in the name of Amina Mouzain, Abdullah's arrival from Sweden could be above board as long as they're two different people. Steve uses a tried and tested method to discover the truth and get a definitive answer on Amina and Abdullah.
All telephone calls made to the Department of Work and Pensions and Humanities, Revenue and Customs are recorded in certain circumstances, so I was able to get those telephone calls for both identities and listen to them, and we can tell that it was the same person making the telephone calls in both different names.
This is the strongest lead so far that the allegations against Amina Mouzain, aka Ayaan Abdullah, are real, but the team knows they will need more evidence to sort this potential scrounger out.
All the claim forms were sent to a handwriting expert, so the department's claim forms, the claim forms from Humanities, Revenue and Customs, the claim forms from the Camden Council were sent to this handwriting expert who could tell me that the handwriting for both sets of identities was written by one person. So we obtained bank account details for Mrs. Mouzain and for Abdullah, and we can tell, for example, that Amina Mouzain was consistently using Brecknock Post Office in Camden, and then when I checked the same bank accounts for Abdullah, I could see on the same day that she was also using the same post office and withdrawing her benefits at the same time.
And as if that wasn't enough,
from the bank accounts for Ayaan Abdullah, I can also see that she was buying items off these TV stations that sell over here. And when I contacted them, they could tell me that the items purchased in the name of Abdullah were actually being delivered to the address of Amina Mouzain.